Welcome to the True Sisterhood Podcast, where sisterhood is real, healing is honest, and no one walks alone. We are your hosts, none other than Pamela and Natasha. Miss P, what's going on, girl?
Hey girl, hey. Hey y'all, hey.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again on another episode of True Sisterhood Podcast. Disclaimer as always, we are not therapists, we are just two women sharing our experience in life, our personal experience and knowledge of what we have. So, we do not claim to be therapists or do we not want to take the place of your pastor or your leader. So, make sure that you still consult whom you need to consult about anything that you're going through in life or anything that we may say. So, welcome. Today's episode is going to be about relationships. Miss Pam,
Mm-mm.
girl.
I know, right? This a tough
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah, relationships are different because everybody goes through different things, different
Mm-hmm.
stages, different periods of life. So relationships are a bit sticky.
Yep, they hard.
Yeah. So yeah, we just, gonna get a little into a little bit of why relationships matter, and then could talk about relationships, family ships, relationships,
Mhm.
personal ships, sibling ships, situational ships, just, all the ships.
Yep. Hopefully they're not sinking, but all the ships.
I know that's right. If you're sinking, we're gonna need you to go ahead and get on up off of there. So let's just, talk about why relationships matter so much in healing. It's, relationships shape our emotional patterns
Mhm.
most of all. What we experience, Pam, from not, my experience, what we go through kind of shapes what we experience shapes what we expect.
Yep.
So in that, it's like, hmm, when healing begins, it doesn't just change us, it changes how we show up for people. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was some of what we talked about, even with self-care, about how you show up for people. So even
Mm-hmm.
in our relationships, it changes when we start healing, when we start dealing with us, when we do that self-care, it also affects our relationships, whether,
Right.
family, personal, anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. We even with our kids, it changes how we show up.
Yep. And it's always showing up.
Right. Yeah. So, we just um, family. Okay, so in family relationships, sometimes in expectation, we gotta learn what obligation is and what with healthy connections, Pam. And so obligations, not just even with family, with any relationship,
Mm-hmm.
an obligation is staying connected out of guilt or feeling we have no choice. Sounds like, I have to, or even what we say about their family, so I just can't say no. But then you start feeling physically and emotionally drained.
Right. And like I know we touched on it a lot in the last one, and we was like the older child. The older
Mm-hmm.
child really bears the burden. Like that's one of the expectations. When you're older, when things go on, it's like you know better child. Where all
Right.
the other kids may not know, or they do know. And Lord knows when you older, those younger kids, girl, they fight you like a wild horse. They be bucking.
Yes,
They
because you
do
ain't my
because
mama.
it's like you're not my mama, you my sister. You don't tell
Right.
me what to do. So that's the expect one of the expectations in family relationships. You expecting the older child to carry the load.
Exactly. And a lot of times, babysitting and things like that get dumped on that older child. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, they saying, "Oh, you ain't my mama," but hey, your mama ain't here. I'm the one
That's
that's
right.
here. I'm the one
Yep.
that makes sure you get food, get this, get
Mm-hmm.
that. And so, yeah, that's a big obligation, especially when you're a child yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the most important part. You're a child yourself. But mama gotta go out and work and do what she
Mm-hmm.
gotta do. And then we're there to make sure they safe, they fed, everything okay, they don't get into nothing. And then when they do, baby,
Well, yeah.
who
And then when they
responsible?
do, yeah, a lot of time we held responsible because you were supposed to be watching them and you're supposed,
Oh,
but yeah, so that obligation would be a heavy obligation. I'm the oldest child, but I wasn't in the home with my siblings like that until I got older, and then that's when I really picked up that responsibility or that obligation. When we all got older, that's when I kind of picked up the obligation of making sure my siblings were good.
Yep, and I'm the older sibling too, and
Yeah.
I had that obligation where I had to make sure they were safe and nothing happens to them. And I remember like Tasha, like my younger brother, he was the youngest,
Mm.
and he would take his pacifier Tasha and just take it and throw it somewhere. I was responsible for that.
Right.
And then like we had my mama got home, and if that pacifier wasn't there, I had to go out and look for it. But my
Right.
other siblings would go out too and help me look for it as well. But that's just the responsibility of the older sibling. One of the responsibilities that I had, just making sure that everything was in place. When she got there, all she had to do, she worked all day.
Right.
So I got to make sure that everything was okay when she got there and she can come home and rest, not
Yeah.
just come home and look for this, feed you, do this. That was my
Exactly.
responsibility to have all that done.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot. And I know it was
It
different for
is.
you because, again, you had your siblings in house with you growing up. I didn't. Being raised by my grandparents, I was the only child there. They would come spend nights and things like that, but they weren't just in the house with me all the time like your siblings were with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, we have the healthy connections that's coming from a place of love, mutual respect, and not being pressured, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you had that pressure though, especially
Yes, that was
in
some
those,
pressure.
yeah, you had that. So that's where we learned, a lot of things that changed us is what we went through,
Mm-hmm.
is what we learned and what we thought that it was supposed to be like. So,
Right.
that was, ooh, yeah,
Yeah,
heavy.
that was a whole lot because
Yeah,
as an adult, I know I could handle it. But as
right.
a child, I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
know anything. I was just learning myself.
exactly. Yeah. And then let's, one-sided relationships, whether it's friendship, relationship with your boo thing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you have those one-sided relationships too, where you are the one who gives the support. You're the ones, that just gives all the time, but you're never
Mm-hmm.
given to,
Yep.
or you're not, that same support is not returned to you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I think I told you earlier how, they would say like, hey, I stopped calling, I stopped texting first, I stopped calling first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that nobody was calling, nobody was texting. And you figure out that I'm the one that's always giving, giving, giving.
Uh-huh.
And so
Yep.
that's like that becomes a one-sided relationship.
Well, I know, like in our relationship, like we don't participate in petty
No.
because it's almost like, okay, I'm calling you, I'm calling you, I'm calling you. I know you see your phone ringing. I need to talk to you. I don't think we
Hmm.
get into it like that because I
Mm-mm.
know, if you busy, you busy. Like
Right.
you call me whenever. In a nutshell, I think our sisterhood is based on respect.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, yes.
it's based on respect. This is who you are. Like I respect who you are and where you are in your life. And I
Hmm.
know it's like what I'm saying, I know it reflects for you too. Like our friendship is our friendship. Um,
Right.
we never bought outside influences. It's
Mm.
always about us. We talk
Yes.
about us and not others. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, how we can support each other. To me, that meant so much. Like we support each other and we don't have time for other stuff. Well, we
Right.
have time for it. Let's just be real. We have
Yeah.
time for it,
We
but we
just
don't have
choose
time
not
for
to.
it.
Right.
We don't indulge in it. We
Mm,
move with intention, and it's always good. Our
mm,
intentions for each other and other people, it's
are
always good.
Yeah, and now that was powerful just saying about the intentions because we're doing this true sisterhood trying to build relationships because we're intentional about what we want. I love to see when I see women on Facebook, TikTok, wherever, and they're having events and it's
Yeah,
intentional to build each other. And somebody had
right.
on a post, I've seen it a few times, sit me with women that's talking about God, talking about being an entrepreneur, visions
Mm-hmm.
and dreams, and about how to build. That's what we're trying to build
Yeah.
community like that because we are, like you said, we do have time to sit and gossip, but we choose
We
not to
don't.
do that. It's
Yeah.
time to build healthy relationships. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, and one thing you said is about, we don't do the petty stuff. So, because healthy relationships, they may not avoid conflict all the time, but they do, but you know how to repair it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where we are. We are never
Right.
pointing fingers. Like I said, it
Mm-hmm.
may be 2 years as it was before we talked to each other, but
Mm-hmm.
we never say, "Oh, I called you last," or "I
Mm-hmm.
texted you last." So it's not avoiding conflict, but it is knowing how to repair it. And
Right.
every every action doesn't require a reaction, and so
Right.
that's how you build healthy relationships with communication is very important in a relationship. I don't
Yeah.
care who it is, what it is,
Mm-hmm.
what type of relationship it is. You have to communicate. If
Yep.
you're not communicating, then what are you doing?
Right. And you have to have that respect as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I respect you. See,
Yeah.
respect don't let you do a lot of stuff. Like people say, "Oh, I love
Mm,
you. I do this." But when you
yeah.
respect the person, it's different because you're not going to allow yourself to go out of character, talk
Mm-hmm.
about this person and do all the other stuff. Like I respect you enough to say, "Wait a minute. Hey, let's not even go there. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. It's okay."
Mm,
Like we're
yeah.
together. We talking about things to make things better, not to make things worse. We're moving
Yeah.
with intention now.
Exactly. And Pam, I can say that's one thing that I pride myself on is respect. I cannot stand a disrespectful person. I don't
Hmm.
care what type of relationship it is in.
That's
And
right.
I've been
Yeah.
in a relationship where it was disrespectful. And
Mhm.
no matter what, I don't have hate for the person because I'll never hate a person. But it's nothing that I really care about with you because you're disrespectful, and I know that you're
Mhm.
disrespectful. And so when you disrespect a person, you can't. Sometimes you just can't come back from that.
Right. You can't. Right. But like we talk about boundaries, respect
Uh-huh.
and boundaries, like it's so different because like with respect, it's always there. It doesn't go anywhere. And like with boundaries, one thing boundaries ain't nothing but limits and
Yes,
rules.
there
And,
you
and
go.
one thing about them, people always gonna cross them intentionally or unintentionally. But
Uh-huh.
but the focus have to be on how you respond because you can't
Right.
control how that person is going to act or feel or what they're going to say. It's
That's
how you
right.
respond to them. So, like, there's respect and then there's boundaries.
Hmm.
So,
And
go
and
ahead.
with boundaries, Pam, boundaries are not punishment, but they are protection.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us that protection because, like you said, some boundaries are going to be crossed, and some boundaries we're going to
Mm-hmm.
let up on because it just depends on the person, depends on the relationship. Some
Right.
boundaries, but disrespect, I don't care I don't like a disrespectful child. I don't
Right.
like a
Nobody does. Right.
disrespectful parent. Even I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if that's your child, everybody deserves respect.
That's right. You do. And
Yeah.
and that's I think that's where a lot of problems come in because there's
Yeah.
just no respect. You have
Exactly.
no respect for that person.
Yeah. And Pam, too, like, I like, when you're in a relationship with your guy or your girl, it's one thing that we got to understand, too, that love does not require you to disappear. Because if you got
Right.
to disappear from giving, 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 then you need to check that connection.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's
Because
that's not a
something,
real connection.
right, something
Mm-hmm.
is not working, something is
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
something off.
Yeah, something is just off about that. So you shouldn't have to sacrifice yourself
Yep.
for the other person to shine. And you may think I was, when we were talking and I told you, I said, and I talk about my last marriage because that's my last marriage that I had, and I can talk about it. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you, I said, at the end of the marriage when we were separated and headed to divorce. And we talked. We were communicating and we talked, and he said something to me that was so powerful that you sit and you think, because when you're going through certain things, sometimes they make it seem like it's you, it was all you have the
Mm-hmm.
issues, or you this or you that. But he said
Mm-hmm.
something so powerful. He said, I was taking away his shine. He said,
Mm.
I'm used to when I walk in the mall, people are looking at me.
Oh
He said,
wow.
but when you're with me, people were watching you and not me. People were watching Nartarsha, because he never called me Tasha. He always called me my full name, Nartarsha. He was like, people were watching you and not
Oh
me.
wow.
He was like, even when we were doing family gatherings and family events, my family was always Natasha, Natasha. If I wasn't with him, they would be, where's Natasha, Natasha? And so he felt some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot be in a relationship and have competition. That was a
Right.
marriage. You can't
Mm-hmm.
be in a marriage, definitely not a marriage or a relationship, and be in competition with the person you're with. Because my thing was, how the heck did you want to be my husband? And you had secret
Uh-huh.
competition
Right.
with me. Makes no
Right.
sense to me. I didn't understand that. And then I started realizing, oh, Tasha, it ain't you, baby. He got
It's
something in
definitely not.
him
Yeah, it's
that
definitely
he
not
needs
you.
to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes into, and we may get into that sometime later, dealing with
Mm-hmm.
the narcissist. We may get into some of that later on in another episode or something. We're not going to go too deep into
Okay.
that today, but we're going to get into that because that's something powerful, because that thing will have
Mm-hmm.
you checking yourself and making you feel like it's you're the blame, you're the problem,
Right.
you're the issue. Because even Pam, after divorce, this man called me, and that was his last time calling me. He got blocked, really. Then this man called me and he said, "Oh, you should have stayed." And I was like,
Oh,
"Should have
wow.
stayed where?" He was like, "You should
In
have stayed."
competition.
Yeah, you should have stayed married. I was like, "Sir, do you not understand?" He was like, "Oh, what was?" Because he got this a company or something, got a great girl. It was talking about money, and boy, I wasn't even with you for money, because you didn't even have money like that. But anyway, oh, come back,
Mhm.
Natasha. But anyway,
But Tasha, I'm glad you said let's get into this next time because I definitely want to know more about that because like being in competition with you like that, like
mhm.
that's crazy.
Yes, you're in competition, but Pam, it may not, people may not talk about it a lot, but it's out there. It's
They
out there.
don't talk
Whether or
about it.
not you believe it, it is out there. And if I wouldn't have
Hmm.
experienced it, I would never have thought so either. But I've learned one thing, that experience is always the best teacher.
Hmm. And it's always teaching.
Yes, exactly. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
it's
Tasha, you
different.
gonna listen. You gonna have to get more into that and tell us more about that. Cause listen, I'm getting ready to start like Tasha. I'm getting ready to start asking questions, but
Yeah,
I'm not. We gonna
yeah,
like you say we gonna get into it later.
but
But
Pam,
that's
it's that,
interesting.
you know, relationships are built on trust, communication, loyalty. All of these things come before love. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I've
Yeah,
heard people
respect.
say you can fall in love at first sight, and I'm not going to say that you can't. Hey, maybe you can. I just
Mhm.
can say for Natasha, I've never fell in love at first sight, but
Yeah, I don't
it's
think
a
I had that
process.
experience either.
Yeah, it's a process. And we just got to get to that place to where we are honest with ourselves most of all. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, Pam, if you're single and you want to do you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go incorporate nobody else in your mess, and you know that you're not ready to settle down, be
Mm-hmm.
faithful, and be in a committed relationship. Especially, do not get married, and you know that you are not ready for it. Just do you. Stay single. You don't have to
Right.
answer to nobody. You don't have to tell nobody who you with, what you doing. Just do that. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, so not being married, because being married you really do owe each other that respect, and but I want your opinion. So when you're in a relationship, and this is just a question, when
Okay.
you're in a relationship, do you feel like your partner should know where you're at or what you're doing?
Mm. I'm gonna say yes because
Okay.
just for me, like it's a safety thing.
Hmm.
So if I'm going to the store, hey babe, I'm going to the store, or if I go to the mall, hey babe, I'm going to the mall. It's not like I'm telling you every step I'm making in the mall. Oh girl, I'm going to Victoria's Secrets. I'm going
Hmm.
to New York and Company. Like not like that, but I want that person to know just for safety reasons. And the same
Right.
thing, if you walk out this house and somebody say, well, hey, where John? I'm able to say where John is at. And the
Hmm.
same thing for me, he's able to say where I'm at. He ain't got to tell me step per steps. Like I'm going to the mall, I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A, I'm gonna go to this place, and I'm gonna go to that place. No, if I know you leaving the house and you going somewhere, that's okay with me. Other places you
Right.
go, you end up going there because 9 times out of 10, you may call and say, "Hey, I'm at Chick-fil-A. You want something?"
Right. Exactly.
So
Okay.
how you feel about that, Tasha?
I feel like you should. And like you said, you don't have to tell the person step by step. But I
Mm-hmm.
just like, for me, I like to say, hey, I'm going here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going there for safety reasons. So if something happens,
Right.
at least you know my last
Mm-hmm.
location or where I said I was going.
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
will know the area, to look in and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I was just wondering because you have people that like, hey, I don't owe nobody. I ain't got to tell them where I'm at. But
Oh
even with my
wow.
kids, that relationship, they have my location because I want somebody for safety to know where I'm
Mm-hmm.
and so we tease each other. They'll watch my location, and then I'll watch their location. We'll tease each other about it, just about locations and where we are and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's just, that relationship as well with our kids.
Mm-hmm. But I
I
mean, Tasha, look at it though. We
mhm,
okay. All the children sitting up in the house. You just get up and walk out the door.
mhm,
Don't say nothing. Where you going? I mean, how that look? That's
right.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
hey y'all, I'm going to the store or
Yeah.
wherever I'm going in. Like, I got to give you something specific. Even if I say I'm going out for a minute, at
Right.
least acknowledge it and say something about it. That's
Exactly.
just respect.
Yeah. And there you go. That goes back to just respect. And so we just got to we have a lot of stuff that we really want to talk about with relationships, Pam.
Hmm.
It's really so much. I think we kind of reserved about.
We are being reserved, but I'm glad that we are because sometimes like people have triggers. Even
Uh-huh.
the things you're saying about your relationship, somebody else went through that, and that could
Right.
be triggering them. So I like that we kind of walking this, walking carefully, tiptoeing around stuff because we don't know what's going to trigger anybody or how their relationship was, and we're not trying to give you advice on anything. I
Right.
would never do that. Like I know people take people come to me and be like, "Oh, Miss Pam, what you think I should do?" Like, I'm not gonna waste my time with that. Do what you want to do. You're not me.
Right.
Because if I
And
was
that
in that
they're gonna do
situation,
that. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not you. Do it. Okay, I tell you what. Tell me this. Tell me what you gonna do. Tell me what you want to do,
You're
and then
right.
I'll let you know. How I feel about it, because you going and burning the house down with him or
Oh,
her in it is not an option. But
exactly.
tell me what you want to do, and we talk about it from there. But you're not me. I can't, like, I'm not giving relationship advice. I'm not in no position. Listen, I ain't in no position to do that.
Right, exactly. But that's like you said, we
Mm-mm.
just talk about our experiences and different things to
Exactly.
help
Yeah.
you heal and help you grow because oftentimes unhealed wounds we just kind of mirror that where we just
Mm-hmm.
keep well, where they say you dating the same person, just a different body.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's
Mhm.
what you have been unhealed. You haven't healed something inside of you. You haven't given yourself
Mhm.
time to heal. And I'll say that like if you have a breakup, nobody really goes into nobody I hope with right since goes into a relationship feeling like, oh, we're gonna break up unless they just after something and they just
Yeah,
doing
no.
something to
Mm-mm.
get something. But
Mm-mm.
if you have a breakup, give yourself time to heal.
Yeah.
Because if you don't give yourself
Mhm.
time to heal mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, if you don't give yourself time to heal, you're going to end up with that same person,
Mm-mm.
just in
Mm.
a different body. What you mean
Eh,
by the same person? The same character, the same
mhm.
emotional bond, the same trauma bond. You're going to go back through all of that same stuff because you haven't given yourself time to heal.
Mhm. And Tasha, just being real, a lot of times people don't give themselves time to heal,
They don't.
because that old saying is, how you get over one person, you get underneath another one. So
Exactly.
so people don't give themselves time to heal. They just
Exactly.
move from one relationship to another. They're not healing from that one. They're just moving on to the next one.
And that saying, what that saying says, hurt people hurt people.
That's
So,
right.
I went through something one time and I did that. I was like, oh, nobody else won't hurt me. And so I'll build up that
Mm.
wall where I'm
Yep.
hurt, so somebody else is gonna be hurt too. But
Mm.
everything comes with healing, growth,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
maturity. And so when we're getting into especially men, women relationship, when we gotta be healed, we gotta mature. You have family stuff that sometimes you really have to take a
Yeah.
moment and you have
Mm.
to heal from either even family situations, family hurt. Because remember what we said,
Mm-hmm.
hey, don't tell nobody what goes on in this house. And sometimes what
Yeah.
has went on in that house was molestation, was
Wow. Mm-hmm.
emotional abuse, physical abuse,
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence. So you
Mm-hmm.
still have to deal with these things.
Right.
And no, listen, like we said, we're not therapists, we're not any of that, but please, everybody be safe. Because you can't just say women,
Right.
because men go through
Mm-hmm.
emotional
Yeah, we
hurt,
all go through.
yeah,
Yeah.
emotional abuse and domestic violence just as well. So just please, if you're going through anything like that, be safe. Get to a safe
Yeah.
place. Know that you are
Mm-hmm.
worthy. Please don't ever let anybody tell you you're not worthy. Oh, you'll never find anybody else is going to love you or do for
Mm-hmm.
you because God made us all special.
Right.
So
And it's
trust
somebody for everybody.
exactly how my grandma used to say it. There's a Jack for every Jenny.
I like that. I ain't never put names to it, but that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, so
She would
like
say the
I'm a quotesy person too. I like quotes. So I found a quote too. So this is the quote. When I hear, here it goes. Okay, so time decides who you meet in life.
mm,
Your heart decides who you want in your life.
mm.
And your behavior decide who stays in your life.
Oh, I like that.
Hmm. And so that's where, like, nobody controls you, only you. It's your behavior, what
Hmm.
you do. That other person, you can't control their behavior. It's what
Right.
they do, and that's what's going to determine what makes them stay. It's the behavior.
Wow. Yeah.
So be aware of your behavior, because we can't help who we love. You love
Right.
who you love,
Right.
but your behavior is going to determine if that person
If they
stays there with
say,
you or not.
wow. That's I love that. Now I love that. And then I want to say this since you said that too. As women, because I'm not gonna say men don't try it, but women I know more we gotta stop thinking we can change a person because we see potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we see the potential and we be falling head over heels and, oh, he'll change, I'll change. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot change a person if they don't want to change. And
Right.
that's the same thing. I think I was telling you, like deliverance. A person, being in deliverance ministry, you can't deliver a person if they don't want, no matter how much you see that spirit and you're praying for that person has to want to let go of that spirit. So therefore, no matter how much oil you put on them, no matter how they flip flop and do, if they don't want to
Mm.
be delivered, when they get
Yep.
back up from all that flipping and flopping and hollering and screaming, they still gonna have that same spirit. So it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing in a relationship.
Wow.
If he or she does not want to change,
Right.
then they're not going to change. And you being the person that you are, a good person, a giving person, whatever, is not going to
Mm.
change them. It's a within situation.
Yeah.
God gives us free will. So guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We can't take that free will from that person. They have to choose to want to
Right.
change.
Right. So in other words, Tasha, what you're saying is you need to be careful how you choose.
Yes.
You got to be careful. And you know what? Especially now in this day and age,
Mm-hmm.
everybody on their cell phone, they just meeting up with people. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, and you're not even paying attention. And this
Yeah.
person been telling you and showing you everything you need to know the entire time. You just not present for it or paying attention to it.
Yes. Yeah. We make jokes saying about the red flags and all of that, but you gotta pay attention because
Hmm.
you see them. I can say for myself, I saw red flags, but because
Yeah.
why are you saying what you saying? Because I did it. I saw the potential
Mm,
and I saw red flags, but I saw the potential. So I'm like, oh, he'll change. He'll change. No, he didn't change because he didn't want to. Only thing changed
hmm.
was my last name.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You get
Mm-hmm.
me? That changed.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw some of the red flags before my name
Mm-hmm.
even changed. But because I saw the potential, I was
Right.
he'll change. And
Mm-hmm.
no, don't do
Right.
that to
And like
yourself.
you say, Tasha, you saw the red flags. Not only that, sometimes we walk around in a circus.
Uh
All
huh.
over there. We just, but we just there enjoying ourselves, eating the cotton candy, having fun. But we in a whole circus. Not only are the flags there, we walk around in a whole circus, not paying attention to what we need to pay attention to. And they're
Exactly.
showing us every single time. And because you being the person who you are,
Right.
you like, okay, like you say, that potential, okay.
Yeah.
So I know he's not there yet, but he got the potential to be there, or she got the
Right.
potential to be there, and I'm gonna try and support them. But
Mm-hmm.
don't, like you said, no matter how you support them, how much they flip and flop, that same spirit gonna be right there.
They'll be there. And
Mhm.
listen, don't put yourself in situations, where because we'll get into this, I guess, on the next session, Pam, because we time is flowing, but I really
Okay.
do want you, because you're in the healthcare field, I really want you to talk about, the sexual relationship, the sexual part of it, of taking care of ourselves, and how, you were telling me about, and we got a few minutes, so, and you ain't got to get too deep into it, but just, give them
Okay.
something about that, especially about those apps.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about sex, y'all. Sexual health, and not you talking to me about sex, but you talking to your partner, because we don't talk to our partner about sex. We
Mm-hmm.
don't. When you meet people, that's the last thing y'all talk about is sex, but you
Mm-hmm.
need to. Um,
Right.
it's something people rarely talk about. But now with sex at the fingertip of us, where you can go to an app, you can go online and press a button, share your location, and meet someone within a 50-mile radius of you that just
Mm.
want to hook up with you, have sex, no questions asked, no
Wow.
names, not even pictures, not your face anyway, but
Right.
not even pictures or anything. And you just hooking up. It's a random person you don't know. But we also watch this in real time with the Diddy trial. Like
Mm-hmm.
they got that man from Craigslist.
Right.
But
Yeah.
not only was he having sex with Cassie, he was having sex with everybody
Wow.
Cassie was
Yeah.
having sex with. And the
Mm-hmm.
freak offs was frequent.
Yeah.
So I know we don't want to talk about it, even if y'all gotta just um make it light or try to make it funny. Ask your partner, hey, when was your last freak off? and you pay
Mm-hmm.
attention, that's probably going to tell you everything you need to know right now.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just make it. It don't matter how you talk about it. You can be serious, however you be. Just make it a conversation because
Mm-hmm.
we don't talk about it, and we got to. And your sexual health is your responsibility. You got to take care of yourself. Get yourself checked. Know your status. As
Yes.
Black people, we don't know our status. We don't want to go to the doctors, and sometimes it's not that we don't want to go. We're not insured to go. But
Right.
we have to know what's going on with us, and especially if you're going to be with another person. That is
Mm.
so important.
Very. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's very important. That's very important because, like you said, it's so much now at your fingertips
Yes.
that you can just go into and be with people that you don't know, and it's a mess, you know.
Yeah, even just going to the club, meeting
Yeah,
somebody, and just
yeah,
going home with them like you don't know that person from a
yeah.
can of paint.
Exactly. And then you know you might be intoxicated or whatever. And you don't know that person's name. You don't know where that person, you know, you
Hmm.
wake up, you don't know
Yeah.
nothing.
You
And
don't,
so
yeah, and somebody come and ask you like what happened, like you go to the doctor and find out something's wrong, and they're
mhm,
asking you where did this come from? You
you
can't
don't
even
know.
tell them.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I had a one night stand. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know the name. You don't know anything. So that's why you gotta be very careful,
Yeah,
pick and
it's
choose.
dangerous out there.
Yeah, pick and choose, and you know, as we mature, as we grow, one person, one, you know, you're not even supposed to be doing it unless you're married, quote unquote, for the Bible. But if you're gonna be out here doing what you do, please take care of yourself, protect yourself. That is
And at
one
least know
relationship.
who you doing it with.
Yes, the most important relationships that you're going to have first and foremost is with God. Have a personal relationship with God, and then have a personal relationship with yourself. And so, when you are taking care of yourself, then you're going to be very particular about the people, the places, the things. You're going to
Hmm.
be real, you know, particular about those things. So,
Yeah.
just be safe out there, and like I said, our time is running out, Pam, but
Okay.
we just want to say, you know, you can love deeply
Yeah.
and still choose yourself. So until next
Hmm.
time, remember, healing is a journey, sisterhood is a gift, and you never have to walk alone. We are your hosts, none other than Pamela and Natasha. And again, we will have another episode on relationships. So we kind of just came in a little slow today with this. We wasn't trying
Right.
to just jump head first, but these the next episode, and we may do two more episodes, but these next episodes we're gonna kind of dive into it real heavy and real strong. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Go to our YouTube channel at True Sisterhood Podcast. And subscribe so that you won't miss the episode. And so that's it for us today. We thank you guys for listening as always. Miss
Yep.
P,
Thank
any
you
last
guys.
words?
Nope, just thank you. Thank you guys for listening. And I hope everybody is learning and getting something out of this.
Exactly. So peace, and we will talk to you all later. Y'all stay blessed and stay warm.
Yeah, peace.